Now this is the Blue Triad SP, which stands for Sport. This is Blue's entry-level bike. Now this is my personal bike, and I've done a few modifications to this, but the soul of the bike, some of the parts and the frame remain true, and that's what this review is about. One of the first things that we always look at, that I always enjoy, we look at this head tube, top tube, down tube, and fork interaction. And this whole area here is a fantastic example of great engineering. Blue has purposely kept this head tube very thin by using a 1-inch fork instead of the typical 1 1/4. That helps out a lot with the profile and design and the aerodynamics of the bike. It moves very smoothly. I don't know if you can see, but this is almost a perfect mesh here down to the airfoil down tube. So it just has a little bit of a curve down in here, and this very unique top tube, which is more ovalized as you get to right it back here, and then opens up again. The fork area, it's fairly smooth. It's not like our new super bikes, but this is not a $4,000 or $5,000 frame. This is about a $3,000 bike, so you can give up a little bit here on the design and still have a very quality bike at a very affordable price. I'd like to look at the fork. The fork is one of the things that I normally first change out on bikes. I've ridden several forks, from Eastons to ovals. The oval Aerostream was one of my favorite forks for a long time. This fork works fantastic. As you can see here, it has pretty good clearance from the wheel for allowing air pressure instead of building up as the wheel passes through on the deep rims. There's some nice clearance here so the air pressure doesn't build up that would slow you down. The fork incorporates a very nice little dip right here. So you have your leading edge rounded, goes into a curved dip. I don't know if you can sort of see it, sort of curves in right here and then flares back out. This not only adds strength to the relatively deep fork that we have, but it helps with the air control as it comes across, reattaches, and hopefully either this pushes it out or keeps it maintained away from the bike. I'm not an aerodynamic professional, but from everything that I've read and studied, which is basically just call me a Google professional, this is a nice little addition here, and it's obviously great for the strength and handling on the bike. That I do know for a fact. The little additions here, the way it's designed, makes for a great, strong, well-handling fork. As you see a lot on the new super bikes that can cost, about $6,000 to $7,000 more than this bike. You could probably buy 2 of these bikes for the price of one of those. They're really incorporating a nice deep head tube conjunction here. On this frame size here, which is the extra small, it creates that automatically. So this is ahead of its time, I feel. And it also creates a very nice airflow as it comes across the head tube, enters the bike. The down tube that everybody seems to care about a lot because it's one of the most visible tubes. It's incredibly deep. Hey look, I got bike grease on my hands. Very deep, very thin, as you can tell here. It is your traditional airfoil shaped tube. That means it's thicker in the front, curved, and then tapers around as an airfoil that you'd expect shape down to a point. Really nice aerodynamic shape here, pretty standard on most bikes nowadays. Another thing you'll notice as we move down is it has a very nice large bottom bracket area. This helps accommodate not only stiffness and handling of the bike as you add power to your crank area, but it does keep the air cleaned up a little bit better when it comes down around through here. Now Blue has done a very good job on their seat tube, and especially into the transition to the chainstays. A lot of other companies will use a chainstay that comes in and then attaches horizontally, and that way they're trying to keep as little airflow, to control the airflow around the chainstay. Instead, what Blue has done is they've controlled the airflow as it comes off the seat tube onto the chainstays with this little portion right here. This not only makes for a very strong and solid connection, but it does help handle the air as it comes around the seat tube onto the chainstays. Now the rear, the chainstays stay much closer to begin with. The aerodynamics of the bike and the air is coming off the chainstay, so unlike in the front where you have a buildup of pressure, since we're past the 11 o'clock position on the wheel, the pressure buildup is not near as horrible I need to retape that. So we can keep it in tighter to help keep the airflow smoother all the way throughout. And you'll notice it's not only so tight up here, but the tightness remains all the way down throughout the whole frame. One of the unique features of the blue Triad is that chainstays stay in close and then they flare out. Both the seat stays and chain stays. We've seen this now in a couple of other bike frame manufacturers. They started doing this as well. They call it a shadow, speed cake, whatever they want to call it. The goal is to keep the air controlled and tight near the bike. Then as these come out, this actually sort of creates the air to come out and around, so it doesn't interact as much with your cassette and drivetrain. I think it works great. I really enjoy it. It still makes for a very comfortable, very strong ride. Obviously, with a small rear triangle, one would worry about the comfort of the ride. This bike is incredibly stiff, as provided by the triangle and the nice thick carbon fiber, but it's very comfortable to ride. Obviously, I've done an Ironman and I felt completely comfortable on the bike. It was right up there with some of the best bikes that I've ridden. I've ridden some titanium bikes. I've ridden other carbon fiber bikes. This is right up there, if not better than all that I've ridden, and I cannot express how happy I am with this bike and its performance overall.